Thank you, Internet. Once again, now we have all the info on the Pixel 5 and Pixel 4a 5G to be launching on the 30th of September. That is the official online launch event and should be available for purchase a couple of weeks after. This is according to some retailer leaks from the UK. We've also got European prices, US prices, pretty much everything about these phones. So yeah, we're going to go through everything in this video. It actually looks like we're getting slightly better than expected prices, so that's always a nice thing to see. And for this phone, which is a mid-range chipset in a flagship type of device, actually compared to other flagship phones, the prices look fairly decent, especially for Western markets, so definitely a nice surprise on that one. So first, let's get into the Pixel 5 and the juicy stuff. So if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that we've pretty much known the specs of the Pixel 5 for a while now. So yeah, the Snapdragon 765G mid-range chipset. Also, confirmation from this leak from Roland Quant, who I'll link below, basically telling us that yes, the ultra-wide is coming. So there was a zoom camera on the Pixel 4 series. That's been swapped out for an ultra-wide camera. When it comes to the chipset, yes, this chipset is a mid-range chipset, but it does support 5G. According to Roland's leak, there are only some antennas in there for sub 6 GHz networks. So that is the small upgrade to 4G. The really fast networks, which is millimeter wave, apparently not supported. We're going to have to wait to see if Google are actually supporting this, but according to this leak, no mention of those. It'd be kind of weird if they didn't support that, but I guess we'll have to wait for some confirmation on if they have that or not. The phone will have an 8GB variant, so that is great. That's a lot of RAM and certainly enough for a Pixel device, coming with 128GB as a base storage. When it comes to the camera, we have exactly the same 12.2 megapixel image sensor that Google have used in their phones for a long time, like years now. So no hardware upgrades for that main sensor. So we're going to be relying on Google to work even more magic when it comes to the software and all the image processing. We do though have a brand new 16 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now this camera, according to the leaked specs, has a field of view of 107 degrees. And to put that into some context for you, the iPhone, the 11 anyway, has a ultra wide field of view of 120 degrees, which is wider. So even though they have put a wide on this, it isn't exactly ultra wide. So just a little bit narrower field of view as compared to the iPhone. And certainly a lot of other Android phones do have slightly wider wide angles. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. Also, without any zoom cameras in the phone this year, and we know that because we've seen prototype hardware leaks, and also we've got the official press renders now. So yeah, no triple camera setup, no zoom camera. Also means that the super res zoom that Google went really hard on last year, using that zoom camera and zooming in further with some great image processing to really make that zoom good. Obviously, that's not coming in the same form. We would hope that it maybe comes on the main image sensor so they can get some good zoom out of that one. But yep, super res zoom, I guess that's kind of fallen by the wayside. Some good specs though is the confirmation of 4K video recording at 60 frames a second, which is a good spec, certainly not world beating. The Snapdragon 765G is only capable of various things, so it's not going to be over and above some flagship phones in terms of the resolutions and also the frame rates, but 4K 60 is way more than enough for most people. If you drop down to 1080p resolution, which most people can use anyway, you get up to 240 frames a second slow-mo. That's really good. You can get some ultra slow motion in HD quality, so yeah, that's a good spec. Again, it's not going to be beating anyone in terms of resolutions. Samsung does 8K, but we've seen that that's kind of not good looking and the stabilization goes. So in terms of frame rates and also resolutions, I think there's plenty to be happy about here. Also, with that new ultra wide being a 16 megapixel sensor, that's plenty of resolution for 4K. So fully expect 4K off that ultra wide as well. The selfie camera is exactly the same, 8 megapixels. The sensor itself completely unchanged. According to the leak though, the field of view on this one has shrunk, so it's not as wide as it was before, so the field of view is a little bit narrower. Really don't know why this is. It could be because of the selfie camera now being in a cutout rather than in a huge bezel or a notch. That may be it, may not be. Not really sure why Google have done this. It's obviously a hardware thing. So yeah, just to keep in mind, your selfies won't be as wide. Let's see how Google try and get around this. When it comes to the other specs of the phone, a good improvement here, a 4080 milliamp hour battery, 18 watt fast charging. And a lot of people did complain about that battery life. Looks like Google have just sorted that out and given us a proper battery this time. 18 watt fast charging. It's not breaking any records for sure. If you go to the Chinese manufacturers, you've got 30, 66, 50, 65, next year 125 watts. So it's not going to be winning any awards in fast charging, but hey, that's what we've got. It does have Qi wireless charging though, and that also means that the back isn't aluminium, certainly not glass, you can see there. So it's going to be a plastic back with a fingerprint sensor in there. So a lot of people love the fingerprint sensor on the back. Reading a lot of your guys' comments, you say that is your preferred position for it, so you're in luck. Certainly when it comes to comparing it to the competition, you know, we've got glass backs, under screen fingerprint sensors, which are more premium. They're more expensive to put in there, but depending on who you are, you might like that back mounted fingerprint sensor. The frame, according to Roland's leak, is aluminium though, or aluminum if you're watching this from the States. So yeah, it's gonna feel way more premium than the Pixel 4a 5G, which is gonna be plastic or a polycarbonate on the outside. 90 Hz refresh rate confirmed as well. I like that. It's a little bump up from 60. Yes, it is getting beaten by many other phones at 120, 144 Hz now coming out. But when you compare it to the iPhone, at least the iPhone 12 that this would go head to head with, that would be at 60 Hz. So this one does have a slight bump up on the iPhone 12. Then we come to the price, and these are all leaked by retailers, so we can take these at 99% certainty. So the Pixel 4a 5G, this was listed in the UK with retailer BT, comes on sale the 15th of October, and it will be £500. That is really a mid-range price for the phone in the UK anyway. That price we already know is the same, so $499 in the States. Google have already confirmed that. When it comes to the Pixel 5 in the UK, £600 more or less for that one. The Euro price, €629. And these include VAT. In the States, it's going to come at around $649 more or less. So even though there are some definite mid-range decisions in this phone, a mid-range chipset for Android anyway, certainly some mid-range designs with a plastic back. You know, there are other more premium type of designs coming in, but in terms of Western markets, this price definitely is a little bit below what flagships are coming at that really cost $800, $900 for those real high-end flagships. So even though there are some compromises, at least from the hardware point of view, the price certainly does reflect that, and Google have positioned this just under those flagships, but you're getting a very capable phone with, I think, a really good screen with that 90 Hz. And then the camera is just going to be awesome, as we always know. So let me know your thoughts on these prices and the specs that we know now, because these are essentially retail specs that have leaked. Let me know your thoughts in the comments though. I would like to know that. That is it for this one. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and I'll see you in the next one.